Have you ever pondered the inception of history as a discipline? The concept of recording and studying past events is older than the discipline itself. Isn't it intriguing? The discipline of history as we understand it today has seen a fascinating evolution. It began as an amalgamation of storytelling, mythology, and chronicles. The ancient civilizations of Egypt and Mesopotamia, for instance, relied on oral tradition and hieroglyphics to preserve their historical narratives. The Greeks, however, were the first to approach history with a critical eye. Herodotus, often dubbed as the father of history, and Thucydides, the father of scientific history, were pioneers in this field. They aimed to present a factual account of events, separating mythology from reality. But remember, the discipline of history as we know it was still far from being born. Fast forward to the Middle Ages, history was often recorded by religious figures and was heavily intertwined with moral and spiritual lessons. The Renaissance period brought a new perspective, with humanism encouraging a more secular and individual-focused view of history. The 19th century, however, was a game changer. This was the era when history truly began to shape as a discipline. The German historian Leopold von Ranke, known as the father of modern source-based history, emphasized the importance of using primary sources and maintaining objectivity. This period marked the birth of history as an academic discipline, with institutions formalizing its study and examinations. Moving on to the 20th century, history saw further refinement. Historians like Fernand Braudel introduced the idea of total history, or history from below, focusing on the socio-economic structures rather than solely on political events or prominent figures. The discipline also became more inclusive, with the rise of subdisciplines like women's history, African American history, and more. In the digital age, the discipline continues to evolve, with technology playing a pivotal role in the preservation and study of history. Digital archives, virtual reality experiences, and online resources have revolutionized the way we approach historical research and education. In a nutshell, the development of history as a discipline has been a riveting journey. From ancient civilizations using storytelling and hieroglyphics, through the Middle Ages and Renaissance with their religious and humanist perspectives, to the 19th century's formalization of the discipline and the 20th century's diversification and inclusivity. The discipline has come a long way, with the digital age further revolutionizing its approach, making history more accessible and interactive than ever before. Ever pondered on the possibility of historical events being mere hoaxes? But how could an entire historical event be hoaxed? Let's take a trip back in time to the 1930s and the infamous Drake's plate of brass. This so-called artifact claimed to be from Sir Francis Drake's 1579 landing in California, but it was nothing more than a clever ruse. And how did such a grand deception take hold? Simple. It was propagated by a select few influential individuals. Remarkably, it only takes a handful of prominent individuals to spin the yarn of a historical hoax. Now you might ask, how can a few individuals influence the perception of history? Well, let's dive right into it. Authority and credibility are the two main pillars that hoaxes lean on. Think about it. If a prominent historian, a well-known politician, or even a beloved celebrity were to propagate a historical myth, wouldn't you be inclined to lend an ear? The media, a powerful amplifier, then takes these narratives and broadcasts them far and wide, making them seem all the more credible. But why do we fall for it? The answer lies in our psychology. Our brains are wired to trust authority. It's a survival instinct. So, when authority figures present these hoaxes, we're predisposed to believe them. Authority and credibility play a significant role in the dissemination and acceptance of historical hoaxes. So, what happens when the truth bubbles to the surface? Well, let's take a step back to the 1980s, when the Hitler Diaries hoax took the world by storm. When these diaries were exposed as a sham, it sent shockwaves through society, affecting everyone involved. The individuals who propagated the hoax faced severe backlash and reputational damage, while the public grappled with the realization of being deceived on such a grand scale. But here's the kicker. Even after being debunked, these hoaxes have a peculiar way of seeping into our collective consciousness. They subtly influence how we interpret and understand historic events, creating a ripple effect that can last for generations. Even when exposed, these hoaxes leave an indelible mark on history, shaping our understanding and interpretation of past events. So, the next time you delve into a historical account or read a historical novel, remember the centuries of evolution that have shaped the discipline. History, as a subject of study, is not just about understanding the past, but also about appreciating the journey of the discipline itself, from its humble beginnings to its current thriving state.
Hoaxes.